Hello everybody, this is Tim here with another Boomstick Critique review. I want to do a re-review for Halloween 2. I did reviews for all the Halloween films on my channel. You can go back and watch those if you want. They're also on a playlist. I want to do a re-review for Halloween 2 because in my old video I gave it like 3.5 stars, and I stated that Part 4 was like my favorite when I was, or second favorite when I was reviewing the Halloween franchise. Now, after watching the films over again, I'm only going to re-review Part 2 because that's the only one my mind has changed on. All the rest of them are, I think, the same about. Part 1's easily the best. Now it's to the Part 4, which is pretty much an action-packed version of the first film. Part 2 is easily my favorite, easily my second favorite now. I'd give Part 2 from 1 to 4 stars, 4 out of 4 stars. If you're watching my videos for the first time, I review movies. I give them order rating from 1 to 4. Anything below 1 being total crap, 2 being okay. Sorry, there was a fly there. 3 being good, 4 being great. Okay, so this, for me, I think is a great sequel. It starts off directly from the ending of the last movie, already a point right there. The opening credits to this movie with the pumpkin like dissolving and there being a skull in it, that's fucking awesome. I love the ending of this when Michael Myers gets shot in both eyes. Don't really need to even go into the plot of this movie. I'm just gonna make this a short and sweet review, really, because there's not really anything I need to go into too deeply with Halloween 2. If you're a horror film fan, you've seen Halloween 2. If you haven't, get to it. So I'm not going to go too deep into this plot. It picks up directly from the last movie. You got Jamie Lee Curtis, you got Donald Pleasence back. Jamie Lee Curtis gets took to the hospital to recover from her wounds from the last encounter with Michael Myers. Michael Myers is going to the hospital to kill her ass. One thing I still didn't like, I didn't like the sister thing. That wasn't needed. You didn't need to make her Michael Myers' sister. That's stupid and really hurt the series in the long run with Michael Myers constantly killing off more and more relatives that just popped out of nowhere. That was stupid. Anything else? One other thing I didn't like was the film got too gory in some of the deaths with Michael Myers killing people. It's like they were trying to imitate Friday the 13th. And I know Friday the 13th was inspired by Halloween, but even though it was inspired by Halloween, the only thing it copied was like the POV of the killer, which Halloween also copied that from other movies like Black Christmas and Peeping Tom. So that's not too big a deal to me because even though Friday the 13th copied that from Halloween, it's still, well, and like the bad luck day kind of thing where Halloween took place on Halloween, Friday the 13th took place on Friday the 13th. So, same shit. But other than that, everything else was totally different. The killings, style of the killings was totally different. The motive for the killer was totally different. The killer herself in Friday the 13th was totally different. Friday the 13th is a totally different film than Halloween. Whereas this film, Halloween 2, continues on from Halloween and has like the same kind of suspense style, but every now and then it goes into like a copy of like a Friday the 13th movie where it has these over the top, like more gory type kills that don't really fit Halloween and the style of it that it was going for in the first film. And it seems more like a Friday the 13th movie, which is not what I want from Halloween. So, yes, other than that, all in all, 4-star film. I love the end of it when Jamie Lee Curtis is like, she's on like medication or whatever, where she's been hospitalized and she can't run and she's like crawling and Michael Myers is chasing after her. It's really cool, suspenseful. She ends up shooting him in both eyes. Dr. Loomis ends up like letting off some gas and blowing the place up. I love like Donald Pleasence's final line when he's like got the lighter. He's like, "It's time, Michael Myers," and blows the place up. There's a huge explosion and Michael Myers comes walking out there like the Terminator. He's on fire and he's still going and he like falls over dead and keeps burning alive while Mr. Sandman plays. Perfect ending for the series. Donald Pleasence going up in a blaze of glory along with Michael Myers and both dying. This is the perfect ending for the series, even though I enjoyed Part 4 and I even like the producer's cut of Part 6. As far as I'm concerned, though, Part 2 is where the story ends, the real story. Part 1 and 2 are like one big movie to me. That's really where the story ends. After that, they're both 4-star movies, 1 and 2, even though Part 4 is not that bad. 5 is utter garbage. 6 is just passable in its theatrical cut, but the producer's cut is good. But the one that got released is not that great. So it's perfectly worthless to the franchise, and all things considered, didn't need to happen. But it is better than 5. It's a passable film. H2O is better than... Oh yeah, Part 3. Part 3 sucks as well. Season of the Witch, crap. H2O It's an okay movie. It's really just kind of lackluster until the big final with Jamie Lee Curtis going at Michael Myers, but it lacks the Halloween feel. It lacks Donald Pleasance, and it feels too much like a 90s teen Scream ripoff. That really hurts the film. And it feels like Dawson's Creek as well. So that's like four things, or three or four things I can't stand of that one. Halloween H2, Halloween Resurrection is utter trash, trash, one of the worst abominations of a sequel to the Halloween franchise I've ever seen. Halloween Rob Zombie's movie, it's good for a remake or reimagining, whatever. It's good. You could tell Rob Zombie was trying to do something different and not step on John Carpenter's toes. It's a good, like, Michael Myers, like, slasher movie. Not bad. It's good, like 3 out of 4 stars, but it's not needed. It's worthless overall in the franchise because it was never needed. Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's sequel, is crap on a stick, a piece of garbage. Either that one or I would say either Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is the worst movie in the franchise, but Halloween, after watching them again, for me personally, I don't know which ones I thought were the worst in my original reviews of these films. But my thoughts on them in my original reviews, as far as like each film's separate quality, are all the same. So if you want to go back and watch them, my thoughts have not changed on those films except for Part 2, which I'm re-reviewing now, which I would now give 4 stars. But yeah, all in all, fucking H2, Rob Zombie's H2 to me now is the worst, and Resurrection I do think is a bigger insult. But I think because Jamie Lee Curtis got killed in that movie, that's a complete insult to the franchise. But this H2, Rob Zombie's H2, has the worst story of the franchise. Horrible. And worst execution. Way too many F words. Way just too much David Lynch crap going on. Just garbage. So yeah, Halloween 2, 4 stars easily. Great atmosphere. I like the characters. I like the Michael Myers kill when he like sticks the chick in the back and like it's a nurse. He like holds her up in the hallway while Jamie Lee Curtis watches. He like holds her up with one hand and he sticks her in the back with a scalpel. And he like pulls it out and drops her or whatever. That was that was a cool kill. Anything else? No, other than that, pretty much my thoughts on H2 are pretty much the same. Well, wait a minute. I don't think he pulls the scalpel out of her back and drops her. I think that was actually in Halloween H2O when he stabs like Jamie Lee Curtis's like boyfriend in that movie in the back. He kills him the same way as he did the chick in in the original Halloween 2, not the Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. He kills him the exact same way, so I was getting them confused. But yeah, Halloween 2 is easily a 4-star film. My second favorite of the franchise. Only thing that hurt, I've named off the stuff that hurted already that I personally felt. It's my second favorite. I love watching this film and the first one back to back. This movie is directed by Steve Miner, I believe, did Halloween 2. He does a good job here directing wise, but you can really feel it's more Carpenter's script because, well, no, Steve Miner, I would say, is a good director. He also directed House, I believe, which I also really enjoyed, and he did. Fuck. I'm getting confused. Never mind. It's not Steve Miner who directed this one. It's not Steve Miner. I forgot the director's name, but it's not Steve Miner. Steve Miner did Halloween H2O, which is the much weaker one than this, and but he did also do the movie House, which is a great film. I wouldn't say great, but a really fun, good, like goofy haunted house comedy horror film. I love that movie. But yeah, just for Halloween 2, 4 stars. Very enjoyable. Great sequel. The franchise ends here for me. Nothing else matters to me, like as far as like story goes after this. Like I'll watch the sequels. I'll watch the producer's cut of 6. I'll watch part 4. But for me, the real story ends here. Everything after 1 and 2 is all just an alternate universe somewhere in space or wherever. So I'll see you guys again with the next Children of the Corn review.